Approximately 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Actor Olivia Munn is one of them. 2 years ago, despite receiving a negative mammogram and clearing numerous medical tests, Munn's doctor made a decision that she credits with saving her life, administering a lifetime risk assessment test that led to a diagnosis of an aggressive form of breast cancer. Soon after, Munn underwent 5 surgeries in less than a year, including a double mastectomy and a procedure to remove her uterus. Just months after revealing her battle with breast cancer to the world, she and her husband, comedian John Mulaney, welcomed their second child with the help of a surrogate. And now Munn is returning to the screen, co-starring with Jon Hamm in the hit show Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV+. Take a look.
Well, Keely, since you asked, my husband was just murdered in the foyer of our house, which is now a crime scene, which is why I'm staying at a hotel, which is why I need new products, which is why, as you so acutely observed, I might be in dire need of retinol eye patches. We were in the middle of a very nasty divorce, so there's a part of me, a disturbingly large one, that is relieved that he's dead. But I mean, Keely, I'm feeling guilty as about that because he's the father of my kids, for God's sake. I mean, what kind of person does that make me?
I sat down with Munn for a meet-the-moment conversation about what she calls her mission to help other women. Take me back to that moment, if you would, if you can, when you were first diagnosed. That shocking moment when you were told that you did, in fact, have breast cancer. What was that moment like? What went through your head? What went through your heart?
It felt like I was in a car crash. If you've ever been in a car crash, which I have been, oh God, no, I don't want this to happen. No, this can't be happening. And so that's the feeling I had. And at the same time, I was so focused and in my body because I knew that she was telling me information that I needed to know to get through this.
You stayed focused, you fought, you had 5 surgeries in 10 months, Olivia, and that would be hard for anyone. You are someone who's in the public eye. Emotionally, how did you steel yourself for that battle?
The only thing that came up in my mind about being a public person was that I didn't want any kind of outside attention or any speculation that I may not make it. I needed it to stay private because I had to stay positive and I had to fight. I couldn't imagine going through a battle like this and having all this outside noise. And it wasn't until I was looking back on photos with my son, and just as you do, you kind of go through your photos and videos, and I saw this one of him and I playing in the front yard. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I had cancer then and I didn't know it at all. And how many other women are out there right now with a clear mammogram, clear ultrasound, walking around and they don't know about this lifetime risk assessment test that was like free and online, and it saved my life. And so I knew maybe about, I'm not sure, like it was months into the journey that I knew that at some point I would talk about it.
The cancer risk assessment, you had done everything right. You had gotten a mammogram. You had been given a clean bill of health. And your doctor said, get a cancer risk assessment, something that most women probably haven't heard of.
Yeah.
And you credit that with saving your life.
It 100% saved my life. I don't know how long it would have taken me to find the cancer because I wasn't due for another mammogram for a year, so at least a year.
Well, the National Cancer Institute says that since you have decided to share your story, more women are actually getting a cancer risk assessment. And journalist Allison Hall says she got a cancer risk assessment, found out that she had breast cancer, and she thinks that you and that test saved her life, Olivia. What does that mean, that you are saving lives, you're impacting women all across this country?
That makes me really emotional when I think about that, because like that was my goal, was for every woman to know about this test, that women are finding out about this and it's saving their lives. It's hard to explain, knowing that this diagnosis that put so much fear into me has been able to be turned into something that's saving people's lives. And that's all I wanted.
So if you could speak to lawmakers, people in Congress, people who have the power in the health industry to make decisions about the access that women have to health care, to the medicine they have access to, what is your message?
We need to be a priority.
Women need to be a priority.
Yeah, women need to be a priority. You know, our health needs to be a priority. There is the money that is there that's being spent on so many other things. Mm-hmm. And without women, there would be no life. I mean, not to sound saccharine or even to be annoying about that, because people have said that, you know, in the past, and it's out there, and people say, like, you know, without women, there would be no life. But that is the truth. And although I shouldn't have to say this, because it shouldn't matter, but you know, the people who are making these laws and creating these bills and deciding over where the funding goes, they have mothers, they have sisters, they have daughters, they have wives, they have girlfriends. You know, don't you want to save them too? Don't you want to help them too? And if they're talking money, if it's all about money, we can talk money too. It takes so much less money to educate women on their options, to create options for women to have the best health care possible. And that's going to save you a lot of money. So just help us help ourselves. That's all we're asking for. We're just asking that you care enough about us to put money where we need it.
Because of your cancer battle, you went into surgical menopause. You decided to have a hysterectomy. You, like me, and I had different reasons, but I also couldn't carry children. And so you decided to go the surrogacy route, which I did as well. And I know that that decision takes a long time to reach. Why did you ultimately decide that you wanted to work with a gestational carrier?
Having our daughter meant so much to us. We knew that we weren't done growing our family. We really wanted this little girl to be in the world, and we needed her to be part of our family, and that was my option. There was no other option for us, and I just believed that I would find someone so kind and so warm and so loving, and who had this calling in life. And so not having the option was the thing that got me through it. If we wanted to have her in the world, which we desperately did, then this was going to be my option. And I would not let my fear, I would not let my concerns and my worries stop my daughter from having a chance to be in this world. Like, that's what I have to do as a mother, is to be selfless and to put my children first. And that was the first step, was putting my fear aside.
How did you do that? Your fear and what a lot of people feel is still stigmas about surrogacy that exist.
I truly didn't understand the depths of the stigma until I had started researching things more and talking to more people about it and saying, like, you know, are you going to talk about using a surrogate? Like, then you've got to hide yourself so that people don't know that you're not pregnant. And I thought, well, why would I do that? Like, I didn't understand there was a stigma. And I will tell you that since coming out and telling people about using a gestational surrogate, there has only been love. There has only been love that I have received, and people have been so happy for us and so happy to see my squishy, chunky little baby girl out in the world. She is the chunkiest, cutest, happiest baby, just like my son, so happy. And there has only been really amazing consideration and understanding.
You are such a fighter, Olivia. Do you see yourself as an advocate?
I think there is like people who advocate, and then there are like advocates. And to me, I think of myself as someone who advocates for women, and it has become my mission in life. There's a few things on my purpose list, which is to be a great mother, to be a great wife, to be a great sister and friend, and to help as many women in the world know about the Lifetime Risk Assessment Test. I never really had that kind of purpose in life. I was really happy. I wanted to be an actor, and I became an actor. And I just wanted to work on things that I really enjoyed and had fun and take risks. But I had no other goal. There was no other thing. It wasn't like I want to take the career to this place. I just wanted to live a nice life and be happy. And now I have a very purposed mission in life.